When you go through hard times in your life as a child, you usually tuck those things away and you don't bring them up again and you don't talk about them. I don't want to disrespect my mom. I know that she loved me and that she did her best, but for many years, because I was an only child, she didn't have someone to babysit me when she wanted to go out. And so the car was my babysitter. And to this day, I cannot stand a station wagon because I lived in a station wagon in the parking lot of the bar until closing. At 7 years old, I had to stay in the car. By the time I was 12, she started taking me in the bars. I should have stayed in the car.
Well, we met on Facebook, of all places. Carrie sent me a Facebook request.
I was like, well, do you drive a Nissan? I work at a Nissan dealership. And he's like, well, I had one a long time ago. And so, but this was all on a Facebook Messenger chat.
Yeah, so you couldn't hear my accent.
No, but I could hear it now.
Well, I call Sleeping Heavenly Pizza ministry, and I call anytime you're out serving others, I call that a ministry. When you're putting others, even before some of the things that you would normally do for yourself or your own family and out serving, that's what I consider a ministry. You know, I may not have it right, but that's the way I look at it.
Great job you done. Y'all have left an impression on them as well, so y'all have impacted their lives, and that's why they're part of this to start with. So thank you for what you guys do. Yeah.
We're supposed to help one another, and if there was more of that in this world and less worrying about what I could get or what we can do for ourselves, I think it'd just be a lot better place to live.
When I was young, me and my mom went to church. She painted Noah's Ark on the children's nursery. We sang gospel together. And all of that took place all the way up until I was about 7 years old. And then something happened along the way in my mom's life, I do not know what, that caused her to turn to alcohol. And it had a very, very strong hold on her life. From that point on, the rest of her life she drank. And it just made things really tough. She didn't work a lot because of it. We lived in very poor circumstances. I didn't have a bed from a young age all the way up until I was probably 15 years old. I was in a really bad car accident when I was 11 years old. We were hit by a drunk driver. It was my first ride in our new car, and it was the day after Christmas. And I was sleeping. I always fell asleep on car rides. And the drunk driver hit the door, the side my head was on, and my nose was laying flat on my chest. Blood had rushed to the front of my face, so it was coming out of my eyes, my nose, my mouth, my ears, and they rushed me to the hospital. The thing that I remember, and when I tell people the story of the accident, I don't ever tell them this, and that's that I had a bed for 2 weeks while I was in the hospital. And then when we went to leave from the hospital, the doctor said, make sure she doesn't sleep in her bed, because we don't want her to fall out and hit her head. And I already knew I was going home to no bed, so that wasn't something we had to worry about. I remember the couch that I had to lay on. It was terrible, so I usually slept on the floor instead. It was hard.
Yeah, well, their vision's just their imagination. You know, that's what I'm thinking. Until I had one, the only one I've ever had, and it was as clear as me turning on my television and watching it, that I saw basically a picture of a ministry building that we had with our ministry name on it, which was our ministry name we had at the time. And somewhere in that ministry, we was going to be building beds, and I started researching Sleep in Heavenly Peace. I was like, wow, this is an amazing ministry. Again, that's what I call it. So this is amazing ministry. And I told Carrie when I come home, I said, I think I know where God is leading us to serve. I really feel strong about this. And anyway, that's kind of what got the ball rolling. We applied to start a chapter. We didn't even know there was a chapter in Gadsden.
And today we were going to go and deliver a bed, and I was looking through trying to see, who we were going to deliver to. And I just said, God, just show me. And I looked up at the list, and it said 29th Street. And that is the street I grew up on. In Florida, I grew up on 29th Street. And when I saw that, my eyes grew big, and I was like, I said, God, help me. And he instantly said, here you go. And I looked, and then I look over, and it's one little girl, 7 years old. And I said, Lord, if this is who we're supposed to deliver to today, let the mom answer on the first ring. And she did. And I lost it. I'm a crybaby, as you can see, but I actually lost it. I could not believe it. And the mom was so excited, so gracious, and the little girl was as precious as can be. We have to start bringing you with us everywhere we go.
First time we had somebody with us doing it, I guess.
Wow! Isn't that cool? You like that?
All right, I am going to get out of the way, because I'm not a good bed maker. My covers, I leave wrinkles everywhere.
Keep them covered. Ready? Okay, open your eyes. Oh, do you like it? It's pretty. That's a bracelet for you too. Do you know what it says? Chosen. Thank you. You're welcome. It feels really good. Every single delivery we go on, it feels wonderful. And even when we show up to houses that kids aren't there, at first I feel so disappointed, but then the families that you're delivering to are so excited about it that it's still as wonderful as it can be.
Our purpose in life, what makes us whole, is helping others. That might sound strange to some folks, but if we're not doing that, something's missing in our lives. If you like to see kids celebrating over something as basic as a bed, if you like getting hugs from kids, if you like just seeing a family just so appreciative, you need to come out and do this one time. And I promise you, if you do it one time, you're probably going to be hooked.
If you want to know and experience true love, serve somebody, go out and do something for somebody who can't give you anything back except for love.